They put me in prison unjustly, just because of the color of my skin. There was no evidence, no crime, but the judgment was ready. For 15 years I rotted in a cell, but every night I went to sleep with the same question. When I come back, whose grave will I dig first? My name is Marcus Ellis. I'm 42 years old. I'm a former civil servant. Before I went to prison, I was an honorable police officer. I was not only good at my job, I was exemplary. I served for 9 years, day and night. I was married. I had 2 children. I was a father, a husband, a man. But one day, a white officer working for me knocked a man down. No evidence, no reason, and no one questioned it. I wasn't complicit in the crime, I was just there. And for this system, that was enough. I didn't commit the crime that day, but I got the punishment, because in this country, sometimes your only crime is to be black. That day, not only my freedom, my life was stolen. It was a scorching summer day in 2009. The sun was high above us. Sweat clung to our skin. It all started as an ordinary mission. It was a drug bust, an ordinary street sweep, they said. Everyone in the team was nervous, but the mission was familiar. At that moment, when that moment came, everything happened in an instant. Detective Colin Warner, as soon as he came in, he went for his gun. The man was unarmed. He had his hands up, shaking, but Colin didn't stop. He pulled that trigger. That bullet took an innocent life. At that moment, time stopped. I froze. I couldn't make a sound. My heart beat, but I was speechless. And then everyone in the team acted as if it never happened. Evidence was destroyed. Camera footage was erased. Reports were changed. And then they turned to me, looking me in the eye. You didn't see that, did you, Marcus? And I was silent. There was a huge fire inside me, but I kept quiet. I had a family. I had children. If I said something, not just my career, but my life would be over. But I didn't know. It would be over even if I kept quiet, because I was the only black cop on the scene that day. In their story, someone was always to blame, and that someone would always be me. A week later, midnight. My kids were asleep in their room. My wife was in the kitchen washing dishes. Our door was broken down. Cops, my former colleagues, raided my house. They said, "You're accused of drug trafficking." I didn't understand what was going on. They searched my house, and then they found a bag. It contained cocaine, and I saw that bag there for the first time in my life. Forged documents, forged witnesses. Suddenly I saw how the system worked. Suddenly I was not the victim, but the enemy. In court, the prosecutor knew me. The judge didn't even look me in the eye. My lawyer. After 2 hearings, he leaned over to me and said, "Marcus, you lost. This war is already over." 15 years. For 15 years, I breathed behind bars, but I couldn't live. My wife filed for divorce the first year. My children moved to another state. I forgot their voices. I forgot their smell, their laughter. There in a bed, in the creaking bars, time was frozen. And every night I was alone with the same question. Are those who wrote this fate for me still sleeping soundly? Or prison is an end for most people, but for me it was a beginning. I spent 15 years behind bars, but I never surrendered. From the first days I understood, everyone has a place here. Everyone is accountable. But the most dangerous are those who are invisible. I've learned to keep quiet. I collect what I hear, I remember what I see. Every face, every voice, every step around me. It was like a map for me. Who was in business with whom? Which guard was whose man? I took note of who wanted to exclude me, who secretly supported me. But my real plan was to pave the way to freedom. I discovered the weak points inside. The escapes, the corruption, the guard secrets. It was all in front of me. Every night in my cell, in the dark, I twined my fingers together. I didn't just dream. I planned. I calculated. I listed the white officer's mistake. The system, those who had brought me down. Who was in the world outside? Who was smiling in my face but stabbing me in the back? I did not forget these. I left traces in every interview, in every letter. I had secret conversations with my lawyer, made friends with other prisoners inside. Some understood my fire for revenge, some were scared, but I was not alone. One day when I got out, I would turn this game around, and that day was near. I became more careful with every small step. I trained myself. I tried to be strong, not weak, not just in body, but in spirit. One day the injustice done to me would no longer destroy me. I would return that injustice as the cold face of justice. I may have lost my life on the outside, but the fire of war inside me never went out. After 15 years, the doors opened. But when I walked out that door, the old Marcus was gone. The new Marcus, he was born with a plan, a calculation and cold revenge. As the doors closed behind me, a burden was lifted from my shoulders, but a new weight appeared in my heart. The 15-year fire of injustice that I had nurtured inside me was now outside and unquenchable. Marcus Ellis was not the same. The pain inside was replaced by a cold calculation. My first order of business was to find the man who had shattered my life, Colin Warner. His life was now the stage for my revenge. Colin had spent years exonerating himself, playing the hero. But little did he know, there was a ghost in the shadows. Plotting, patient, stalking. I started to secretly monitor his surroundings. I noted which cafe he went to each morning, who he saw, the foibles of his family. Colin's weakness was his arrogance and overconfidence. I was going to exploit this. One day I overheard him talking to one of his former colleagues. I realized he was easily persuaded. I approached him. I didn't tell him who I was, but I gave him my message. The truth comes out sooner or later. Then I started making small but effective leaks at Colin's workplace. From the inside, I learned that some files were missing, that important information was missing. I had created a spark in the system. One night I stood silently in front of Colin's house. I couldn't see his face in the dark, but I could feel my heart beating. I whispered, "It's time for the promise I made to you." It was a warning for him. The next day, strange things began to happen in Colin's life. Rumors spread at work. No one knew where they came from, but old files began to be reopened. Old mistakes, hidden corruption were revealed. I didn't stop there. I infiltrated Colin's private life. I made his wife start to suspect him. I organized secret messages, misunderstandings. He began to feel lonely and insecure. But most importantly, I got the media attention. I told my story. I said I was wrongfully convicted. The public listened to me. They held not just one man to account, but the wheels of the system. The family I lost 15 years ago, my children, were now grown up. I was going to fight to be reunited with them. My revenge was not only against Colin, but also against injustice and racism. Colin's career collapsed. He was abandoned by his friends. He found himself completely alone. And me, I got justice. But in doing so, I didn't get lost in myself. Because true victory is not just about destroying the enemy, but about finding yourself again. Now I ask you, how many other people are like Marcus? How many more people are there like Marcus? Unjustly accused because of the color of their skin. This is not just Marcus's story, this is the story of millions. What kind of world do we want? A world where justice is truly fair, or a world where injustice is commonplace? If you are against these injustices and don't want to remain silent, subscribe now. Let's grow stronger together. Let's hold each other accountable. Revenge is not cold. Justice is what we deserve.